realms. So today we're going to continue our meditation on the lower realms, and specifically today it's going to be about the hot hells, and um, there's quite a few of them. So we'll see if we get through them. If not, we can continue again next week. Um, and when we contemplate the hells, it's not to become depressed. And I think I've said this before. It's not to strike fear in us. The intention is to motivate us to practice, to motivate us to not be reborn into a lower realm. Um, so if we do find that fears are rising, then maybe it's not time for us to meditate on the lower realms. Maybe it's not the right time in our path. So it's okay. You can just let it go for now and pick it up in the future when you're ready to do that, because it's a process. It's not something we need to do all in one go. So when that time is right, we come back to it. So have no fear. Enjoy the meditation and the contemplation, and hopefully these contemplations make a shift in our mind to practice Dharma, to become better people, be more moralistic, and to live a meaningful life. So I think that might be the motivation for today, to live that meaningful life, be moralistic, increase our Dharma practice. So that one day we'll be enlightened beings and help all the other suffering beings, just like we suffered, to overcome the suffering and lead them to liberation. So with that motivation, we can try to subdue our minds a bit, settle our mind, bringing ourselves into this session, putting aside any distractions that were striking our mind before or yesterday, during our sleep. After all, it's just 30 minutes of the day that we're going to meditate. So with that thought, we can put all of our energy into these 30 minutes of full concentration. Nothing else matters. As we bring our attention to our breath, we'll take 3 deep breaths. Not super deep, just deep inhalation. Hold it for just a second, and then slowly release. And do that 2 more times. And now watch the breath. Maybe it's at the tip of the nose, the inhale exhalation sensation. Maybe it's in the chest or the stomach or the entire torso. Wherever it is, we'll just watch this inhalation, the expansion, and then exhaling and the contraction. Just to sharpen the focus of our mind. So we bring to mind again, this rare opportunity that we have with the precious human rebirth. We bring to mind that this precious human rebirth is a result of our karma and conditions in past lives. And we're still under the control of our karma and conditions. And we recall that we will die. Death will come. The time is uncertain. The place of death is uncertain. And then when we go through that process, we will have little control over our rebirth. But through our Dharma practice, we gain more and more control. And with this control, we can choose. Where are we reborn? But until then, we're most likely at the whim of our negative karma. And then we contemplate these mm, lower realms, and particularly the hot hells. So we tend to think that the the lower realms or the hot hells, that they're underground, they're very deep, many miles below, and that above us are the heavens, kind of our mm, way we think about it. But they're not really way down there, and the heavens aren't really way up there. They're not so relational. But it gives us a concept to think about. So in these hot hells, the ground is red hot. It's like burning iron, and it's full of flames. And the beings in this realm, they experience suffering as being burned alive. So it's like being caught in a forest fire with flames all around you, and there's no way out. So in these hot hells, there are people, and they harm other sentient beings with various kinds of weapons. So not only is there fire and heat that's so intense that it's more intense than in this world that we experience now. And in this world, when your body is injured by another being, so maybe they cut off an arm or a leg, and like in this world, when that happens, then there's a separation. The arm is gone, the leg is gone. There's no more sense of pain or feeling in the separated body part. But in the hot hells, you still have this sensation of pain despite being separated from your body parts. So not only are you experiencing this intense heat and burning sensation, but you also succumb to the pain of being butchered, body parts being cut. And then when they're severed, you still experience the pain of those body parts. And all these appearances, appearances of suffering, they're not separate from you, basically, right? They're just a manifestation, a result of the negative karma. And then you can imagine that you go through all this suffering and you perish in this hot hell. And then as soon as you perish and that existence stops, you're reborn right in that hell again, almost instantaneously. And the cycle of suffering continues. So you can imagine that if you're in this situation, you don't have the mental space to contemplate dharma. You can't even use your mind. So dharma practice is virtually blocked. And you have to go on and on experiencing this suffering. And you have to do that until the karma that produces suffering is exhausted. And then maybe after that, you're born into another hell after that karma is exhausted. There's the hell of the black lines. And this is where there's guardians to the hell, that they wear faces like lions or bulls and so forth. And they take your body and then they mark it out with these lines. Black lines. And the body's cut along these lines. So it seems that these guardians of the black lines, they're not separate individuals. They're illusory appearances of our minds, created by our karma. Or it could be that we're born into another fiery hell where our bodies are burning and as it's burning, we lose consciousness. But then we revive again, right? To experience the terrible burning sensation. So in this hell, there's there's no death. It's a continual um, burn, and you can't die until the negative karma is exhausted. And then there's a crushing hell, where again you're standing on burning iron ground, and then sometimes your body is crushed by huge iron mountains. Or sometimes large iron pieces fall from the sky and crush the body. And despite being crushed, the body is still alive, still experiencing the pain and the suffering. And this experience is most likely due to killing other humans. And then there's a howling hell, which still has this burning iron ground. And we're surrounded by these very scary, very frightful guards. And they have weapons, and many of them are on horseback. And they lead you to an iron building. And then as soon as you go in, the door shuts and the whole place starts to burn. And there's no way out, and there's nothing to do but to um, howl and cry. And then there's a heating hell, where we experience the suffering of being uh, boiled alive, like noodles in a cauldron. And the water's full of molten iron. So our so in this life right now, our life is very short. And how we spend it um, is really important because sometimes we're fighting with others. And in this way we accumulate these causes for such rebirths in these hot hells. So we have to engage in the Dharma practices. We have to confess, we have to purify. We can use meditation, we can use mantra and so forth. And we can contemplate the sufferings of these lower realms. So we can contemplate these lower realms and have faith in their existence. Because then we get the shift. It impels us to practice. And not only practice, but practice strongly. So then we can really eliminate all of those little pieces of negative karma. So we use these contemplations of the hot hells to motivate us to eliminate, to purify our negative karmas. Not to get depressed, not to say, poor me, this is where I'm going to go. And we can dedicate these contemplations. We can dedicate it to all the sentient beings that are going through suffering, all the sentient beings that are um, recently entered the bardo, and particularly our beloved Mami Max. May they navigate the bardo, find a precious human rebirth, or go to a pure realm. And may all the beings that are living today, may they find the Dharma, create the positive karma and the potential to have fortunate future rebirths. And we can dedicate to all of our lamas, all of our teachers, that without them, very unlikely we would be studying Dharma, contemplating Dharma, or even meditating. Because there are living examples how it's done. Thank you.